Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me formally welcome you to another exciting episode of the program, Politics Hour. Today, just like we've always been doing, we are going to bring you an exclusive interview with one of Nigeria's future leaders. He's also vying for the post of House of Representatives in his constituency. In this program, we'll be delving into the political aspirations of our guests, his values, and his vision for Nigeria. Our guests will share personal stories, personal experiences on why he should be a leader in the House of Representatives and what has really propelled them and given them that zeal to run for public office. So today, we'll be joined by Mr. Ako Christian Oche from Niger State. He's running for the House of, he's an House of Rep aspirant for Chaga Federal Constituency in Niger State. So, Mr. Ako Christian Oche, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Calvin. Nice to be here.
All right. All right. So let's delve first into your personal background. I believe we want to know more about you. Can you start by telling us about yourself, your background, your education, your career journey, and what specifically inspired you to run for a seat in the House of Representatives?
Okay. My name is Mr. Ako Christian Oche. I grew up in Niger State. My primary school, my secondary school, and even my tertiary institution, all were attended in Niger State. As a matter of fact, we've been in Niger State since 1989, thereabouts. So I grew up to discover myself as a person in Niger State. So, my primary school, secondary school, and even the university were all carried out in Lapai. Lapai is a local government in Niger State. I did my primary school at Central Primary School, Lapai. I did my secondary school at Muhammadu Kobo Secondary School. That was the secondary school named after the late Emir, Emir Muhammadu Kobo. And my university, I did my undergraduates at IBB University, Lapai. That was between the period of 2010 to 2014. I ought to have graduated in 2013, but due to the strike, the ASU strike that elongated my graduation to 2014. So I served in 2014, 2015, and immediately after my service, I equally enrolled for master's degree in education and counseling psychology. So I'm a trained guidance and counseling psychologist and educationist. So,
all right.
I'm also a human rights activist.
Right.
I'm also a human rights activist. I stand for the people. I ensure that the fight against injustice is sustained in every capacity that I have. My voices are trying to pull down every move since 1999. I've been voting and ensuring that the people get fair share of governance. But I came to realization that all the voting have not actually yielded the desired outcome. So this has, no doubt, motivated me to get involved, because I discovered while I was involved during my university days, there was a difference. And that was where the genesis, the name due process started. You know, the people started, they asked me what would be my mandates, what am I going to the office to do as a student union official. And I told them that we ensure that due process is followed. So unknown to me, that's the name that has followed me until this moment. So I actually was able to meet up with my campaign promise to the students as at that time. So that's all I can say.
All right.
And
All right.
I'm the convener of Due Process Integrity Vanguard. It's a pro-democracy platform where we advocate for good governance and ensure that the rights of the masses are well protected.
All right. At least now we know where the name due process comes from. So when I'm asked about a particular person called due process, I will tell them where the history is coming from. All right. So let's look at your personal core values. Let's look at what you stand for, what has guided you in life. What are your core values that have guided your personal and professional life so far? Yeah, what are your core values guided your personal and professional life so far? And how will those values influence your role as a legislator in the House of Reps if you are elected?
Yes, my personal value, just like the name, due process, I want to see things being done orderly. It's just for greediness. Otherwise, there's plenty in the house for everybody to go around. If you travel to Dubai, you see that there is almost zero poverty visible in that country. Why? Because there's fair share, fair distribution of scarce resources among the citizens. But the same cannot be said about Nigeria that have even more resources. Why? Because there's greed among the political elites. They've held back the limited resources to their immediate families at the expense of the masses. So if given the mandate, the opportunity to serve the people, I will ensure that there is fair share distribution of government resources to the people. Because governance is about the people. The people must take the center stage of every government policy. And as a lawmaker, I will advocate for bills that will ensure that will make corruption very unattractive to political elites. I don't know if you get me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we ensure that corruption is so unattractive. As a matter of fact, that there should be death penalty for corrupt government officials. Yes, China is doing it, and there is nothing wrong with a country that have more problem of it not to do it. Nigeria, as it is, we have more cases of corruption. Corruption, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing like anti-corruption fight in Nigeria because it's been treated with a kid's blow.
Okay.
Are you there?
Okay, so let's look at your. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, so let's look at your vision, leadership, and competence. What is your vision for your constituency, and how do you think it differs from what your predecessors have attempted to achieve?
Yes, Mr. Calvin, my constituency is not a big constituency per se, but there is dense population of people in the limited lands, land mass in Chanchaga constituency. But as small as the size of my constituency, the impact of the governance is not felt on the people. Yes, we see the state governor embarking on road construction. But how about the quality of lives that apply this road? The quality of lives of the people is nothing to write home about. So talking about human capital development, the government of the day have not given priority attention to it. So if given the opportunity to serve, This will be my primary area of concentration, human capital development. In terms of hospitals, there is nothing to write home about in hospital. As a matter of fact, there was a time I took a video of the state of General Hospital in Mina, which falls under my constituency, Chanchaga. The state of the General Hospital is so pathetic, so smelling. It's like a mosquito hub, you know, where they gather and celebrate every evening. And you imagine somebody who has come for treatment at the hospital, being admitted for treatment, and at the end of the day, instead of being healed or being treated well enough to be strong and return back home, is rather returning back home with additional sickness of malaria. So this is uncalled for. I see no reason why the government of the day cannot embark on total chemical application to do away with this malaria. I mean, this mosquito that is infecting the people with malaria. So these are some of the primary areas that we're giving attention to. Nets. There should be nets readily made available to citizens. The people who are living in the states need access to nets. The government of Nigeria should be able to provide free nets for all citizens. And these are some of the things I'll push for that will make a difference between where the current administration are focusing and where I'm going to focus. One, I'll focus on human capital development. I'll focus on health, the health of the people. When the people are healthy, they will become productive. Then I'll also focus on agriculture. As it is in Niger State, farmers are being shortchanged from two ends. One, the headers are in the farm shortchanging the farmer by destroying their crop. Two, when they get to the market again, inflation is shortchanging them because the amount of money they devoted into buying those products, inflation has affected the capacity, the strength of whatever they're able to get, the proceed from the sales of their products in the market can no more be able to help them to sustain. I grew up in Niger State seeing a situation where farmers buy brand new car. But in the current dispensation, previously they even feed on, they don't feed on the current crops from the current farming season. They rather feed on crops from 2 previous years, that because they have excess on ground. But I'm now beginning to experience a situation whereby farmers are running to town to come and buy food. Why? Because of insecurity in their farmland, insecurity in their ancestral home. And my generation cannot understand why a serious government at that, should not be able to take a drastic measure to restore security of lives and property in Niger State. So these are some of the background details that is informing my decision to make myself available for the masses, so that the masses will have an option on the ballots. A state without security cannot have production. A state without healthcare cannot have a productive workforce. A state without education. If you go to visit the primary schools, the secondary school, my brother, nothing to write about. There are no good furniture for students to sit on. The environment is so hot and not conducive for learning. So constituency projects, because seeing is believing. I'm here to see those projects that tilt towards emancipating the masses from their poverty states.
All right. All right. Okay. So can you clearly outline the first 3 legislative priorities you have for your constituency, and the specific actions you will take to achieve them within your first year in office? Top 3 legislative priorities.
Legislative priority will center on taking children from the streets. There are out-of-school children everywhere on the street begging. Street begging has to be solved systematically by providing a good and habitable school for all. That is the primary essence of basic education. It has to be tailored, it has to be systematically worked out. The facilities have to be provided, the classrooms. Mr. Calvin in Mina, the number one option for parents who take their works to the school, the number one option is private. So one begin to wonder, where is the role of the government? Are we make efforts legislative-wise to ensure that the primary, secondary, and even tertiary education is prioritized? At least there should be 40% allocation of government budgetary system to education. Then the second one will be health. If, like I said earlier, if the working population are not healthy, they cannot give birth to productive economy. So there has to be functional, healthy population. And how do we achieve that? The primary health care must be made to function, not just by paperwork, but by ensuring that the right structures are put in place. If you visit religious centers in Mina, churches, mosques, they are more beautiful than the primary health care. These are some of the things that my generation cannot understand, why a government with the enormous resources cannot provide the basic health facilities. So health will be prioritized as the second one. Then security. Security has to be given all that it takes. And security in this context is not just about going about blowing the trumpet. It's about doing the doings, doing all that needs to be done to ensure that security is put in place. The bangers, the vigilantes, the local vigilantes will be given the legal backing to provide security for their state under the state police that has been legislated upon. So if the local vigilantes are given the necessary support, they will go a long way to provide security for their state. And you can agree with me that Niger State is one of the states that is have.
But let me ask
security challenges. Then in order to finally solve the security challenges. Okay.
Let me ask on this last one you just talked about, giving the security vigilantes their support. Because I asked this question, posed this question to the guest yesterday from Anambra. The government of the day doesn't seem to want security community level. Like most villages, you have a vigilante. In fact, in those states, where this just took place about those Fulani experts that were killed, local vigilantes have just been disbanded. In other words, their weapons have taken. And you are suggesting this as empowering the vigilantes. Just like the person yesterday suggested community policing. If you have a government that is not serious about security, what will you do? Apart from that, we're having a National Assembly that is behaving as if nothing is happening in the country. And what will you do as a legislator to make this different? Because we don't want to we're going to have a lame duck National Assembly that doesn't do anything. Some people they talk a lot like this, but when they get to the National Assembly, it seems as if it's like a court, and they don't see anything about the real issues that are taking place in the country. Are you going to be the kind of person that's going to be sitting there, or what will you definitely do about such a situation? Especially if the leadership of the National Assembly is not serious about the real issues on ground, like security. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I mean, yes, okay. I can hear you. If I'm in the National Assembly and I present bills to profile solution, a part of the bills I present will be to end open grazing. It has not helped either side. It has not helped the Fulanis, and it has not helped the farmers. Why open grazing? Destroying people's farm, causing scarcity of food, leading to hunger in the country. And by extension, the economy is destabilized. So the best solution is to end all forms of open grazing. Let there be legislation on it. And I'll proudly support or sponsor any bills that has to do with to eradicate any form of open grazing. If you want to go into animal husbandry, you buy a land or you rent a land and you go into proper ranching. That is what is done world over. You don't use your own private business to destroy other people's farm. It's uncalled for. And I want to state categorically that what is happening between Fulanis and the inhabitants across Nigeria is deliberately being allowed by the government of the day, because Abacha said it, that if any insecurity try beyond 24 hours, the government is involved. Of course, we all know the Fulanis before now, they have no business with carrying around AK-47. Who provided them? Who provided this gun? These are the fundamental questions we should be asking. So, as a member of the House of Representatives, I will make effort, a frantic one at that, a deliberate one at that, to ensure that there is a bill being pushed forward for a ban on all forms of open grazing. And if the Speaker of the House of Representatives is not yielding towards the aspiration of such bills that I believe should get the overwhelming support of the various House members across the country, then we'll have no choice than to push for the impeachment of such speaker, because he does not deserve to be there. We want a National Assembly that will function effectually, not a National Assembly that will be rubber stamped and waiting for a nod from the executive before they act. So there have to be independence and separation of powers among these various organs of the government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. That's good to hear. Because we're having a situation right now where the National Assembly acts as if everything is normal in this country, and you and I know that these things are not normal. Okay, Nigeria's political landscape is plagued by corruption. What concrete measures will you implement to ensure transparency and accountability in your office, make it different from others?
Yes, transparency is key. I've grown up to see a government where somebody will just wake up because he's the governor, or because he's the senator, or because he's the House of Rep member. You just wake up and go and set up one structure and call it project of the people. Before you go into implementing any constituency project, you should be able to interact with your people and find out their area of priority, what they really need as a people. For instance, the needs of borehole for Borno residents may not be the same need for Niger State residents. So this has to be put into proper perspective, ensuring that the people are provided what they need. You don't just say because there is a budgetary allocation for social number of borehole, then you start planting borehole even where it's not necessary. I'm just using that as an example, you know. So the needs of the people should factor in, and the people need to be consulted through a town hall meeting to find out their area of needs. There was a village, a community I visited very close to my farm, and all they were even asking for is just a source of water. The government is so far from them, but very close to them during election. So these are some of the things that we're working against to ensure that the people get a fair share of the Nigerian resources. Because I believe no Nigerian deserve to go tasty without water. Water is fundamental human needs.
So with that being said, about your transparency and accountability in office, with that being said, will you, for instance, commit to publishing detailed reports of your constituency, the reports of your constituency project funds to the public for them to always see, including how they are allocated and spent, And how frequently will you publish this report? I'm asking this because we're having situations who are National Assembly members, and their constituency are aloof about what they are doing. They don't even know what they are doing. Like, remember they said something about rice the other time, that rice was given to legislators who sent to their constituency. Why we heard that some legislators got rice and shared to their constituency. A lot of legislators in their constituency, they never said anything about rice. Okay, so also, will you be committed to publishing detailed reports of your constituency project funds, including how they are allocated and spent, and how frequently will these reports be made available to the public? You can respond, please. Did you hear me, Mr. Akpa? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
They don't understand the difference between hear me. Can you? I'm hearing you.
Please respond to my question.
All right. I said the problem is that people don't understand the difference between private property property. Mr. Calvin, while during my student unionism, I factored and made semester presentation of my activities to the students. I it's to be done. They agreed to it before I went ahead. And having gone ahead to produce the 10-in-1, I was the first student union president within my department to produce 5-in-1 notebook. Up to date, some people can still reference it. It was given out to the students of that department freely at a subsidized rate of 50%. Whoever is interested, pay 50% and gets it. I'm using this as a reference point. For you to represent the people must have input in whatever you are doing. There must be feedback. There must be town hall meeting. There must be accountability. Mr. Kevin, as I'm speaking to you, I still have detailed reports of my administration, student on just 1 year administration. I still have the reports, a detail of how every penny was spent, as low as 10 naira. So there has to be accountability from the angle of leadership. So I will not. But it's already a culture in me to provide detail of how I spend every government penny to the people. They have to see it. As a matter of fact, I don't have any expectation on the salary or the allowances or the government constituency amount that is coming in for the people. It's the money that is meant for the people. It has to be used for them. So if given the mandate, I'm even looking at cutting down my salary to my class. I'm not a rich guy. My needs are limited. I know how to manage myself. I cut down my salary to ensure that I'm able to do more for the constituency.
All right, we'll come to that. We'll come to this. Let's look at once you get 2 bills or motions, and you know we have what we call, it's not easy for those bills to pass. Apart from you or your party, you're also going to have from other members of your or other political parties who may oppose your bill. How are you going to what kind of strategies are you going to also make? Are you going to also use to ensure that those bills go through and they are passed?
Yes, it has to do with lobbying. But you don't lobby in a way that
tell us about the bill. First tell us about the bill, the particular bill you want to sponsor, and before you delve into that.
Yes, I'll sponsor a bill on anti-open grazing. Because that will solve, but in the country at large, that will solve the security challenges. Then 2, I'll sponsor a bill ensuring that there is 0 out of school children in Nigeria. There will be technicalities around it on how to mop these children out of the streets, ensuring that they get back to school, because that is where they belong. President Goodluck Jonathan started it. He built Almajiri School across the 19 states. And for President Muhammad Buhari came in, and he failed to continue with the idea. I heard a confession from a northern Malam. He told me how they regretted voting against Jonathan. That this man is not a northerner, a southerner. He built school, Almajiri School for them. He furnished it, he bought uniform, everything, just for Buhari to just come and ensure that the program kickstart. But Buhari dashed their hope away. He discontinued the program. So in terms of education, we have to look into that and ensure that the street children, the children that are begging for food, will be mopped from the street back to school. That's the second one. Then the third one, we have to, I'll push a bill that will see to empowering our young people. The Nigerian populace have lost hope of even surviving. They have lost hope. So I'll push a bill that will ensure that the private citizens are empowered by the government, because all this money they are throwing around, buying private jets, traveling to France, they are all wasted money. These are money that ought to have been used to develop the economy of Nigeria. Then the fourth one, I'll sponsor a bill that will ban all form of religious pilgrimage. It's total waste of money. This money that have been wasted on religious pilgrimage to Israel, to Mecca, these are money that ought to have been invested on the people. When the people are economically empowered, they'll be able to take a decision whether they want to travel to the moon. They will go without depending on the government. But the government uses this as a means of holding down the people, giving them the impression that they care about their religious belief, whereas you and I know that they don't truly care. Rather,
That's it. I think our guest network is low. I hope he powers back on.
I can't hear you anymore.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. So, of course, since your network was having issues, so let's look at how you are going to get these bills passed. Are you going to let me manage one of my future questions coming up. Are you going to handle bipartisan support across the divide? Are you going to make sure that the other colleagues go through with you in making sure that the bills are passed? Because it is one thing for you to introduce the bill, and it is one thing for the bill to go through. If not, like we always hear, the bill is tossed out and may not survive first, second, or third reading. About it.
Sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
How are you going to get support? How are you going to get support for your bill? Please go ahead. How are you going to handle bipartisan support?
Yes, bipartisan support, expectedly, truth, justice should be able to bring people together, irrespective of political affiliation. You get? And in the National Assembly, where we're having different political people from different backgrounds, people from different political backgrounds, people from different zones, we'll find a way to appeal to ourselves to put the country first. The moment we're able to put the country first, we will not have problem with bipartisan support. We will see each other as a family in needs of different supports at the same time. So we'll factor all this in and make presentation that will be suitable for my constituency. And I'll seek the support of my fellow House member, if elected, to be able to support the ideas I'm presenting, because it will have an overall effect on national development.
All right, let's look at thank you. Let's look at okay, let's just look at the policy article. Let's look at Nigeria's challenges. Top problems Nigeria has is insecurity. We have unemployment, we have poor infrastructure, we have corruption. Believe the legislator have the tools to make Nigeria to go past this. What legislative tools? How do you think the legislature can help Nigeria to get past this problem of insecurity and unemployment and poor infrastructure, especially insecurity? Looking at what is going on right now in politics, but right now it's just as if we don't have a national assembly. It just looks as if it's just only the executive. How will we go about it?
Mr. Kevin, the insecurity in Nigeria is man-made. I tell you, take it to the bank. Some state governments are deliberately encouraging insecurity in their states so that they will have access to the security votes. There's this security votes that is pushed to states that are having insecurity challenges. So states, the number of states that are sliding into insecurity keep increasing because of the motivating factor, the billions of naira that are being, earmarked for security votes. They need to support states that are having security challenges. Take, for instance, the amount of money Borno states is receiving because of the insecurity. It's not the same amount of money that Lagos State, for instance, that have no significant cases of insecurity. So what are they saying? The government of Nigeria is designed in such a way that it's encouraging insecurity. This has to go. It's not sustainable. There should be no motivation for security. If there is any breach of security or any security challenges, the federal government should be at liberty to solve it head-on, instead of providing any budgetary support for states that are experiencing insecurity. It's just like you and I, we are in different quarters. In my own quarter, there is insecurity. In your own quarter, there is no insecurity. And as a matter of fact, I'm having this insecurity in my own quarter. There's a particular amount of money projectually allocated to my own state. So you will be encouraged to pop up something in that regard, so that you also benefit from the billions of naira that is meant for that purpose. So the Nigerian government should dismantle that. That amount of money that's meant for insecurity should be channeled into production, into developing our industry. There's nothing wrong if the government go into building industry. During the 60s and the 70s, that was when they built all this NNPC, all these textile companies. What happened now? Why can't we sustain the momentum and ensure that Nigeria become an industrialized country? So all this money that we're wasting around insecurity should be channeled into proper production, where our people will be engaged. When the people are not idle, they have something that is keeping their economic life going. There will be less. You automatically solve issue of insecurity, because there will be no idle hands that will be available for the terrorists to recruit. It's because people are not engaged. And that's why they sat down and they say, what's even the essence of education? And they say Boko Haram. Boko Haram means education is forbidden. There is no need even going to school, because even after school, there is no job for you. So why even wasting your time going to school? These are some of the ideology that led to the formation of Boko Haram. So for the government to solve it, the people must be engaged productively. There has to be production. Multiplication of mosques, multiplication of churches. This is not what Nigeria needs. Nigeria needs to be productive. There is growing hunger in the land because the people are not productive. So there has to be production. I want to see this billboard of companies, industry, competing with that of religious center. That is when I can go to bed and be rest assured that Nigeria is moving towards the right direction.
All right. Okay. So let's come back to your constituents. Your constituents. How will you be able to make sure that the voices and concerns of your constituents, especially those in remote areas, areas that don't have that have a lot of challenges, even the your constituents in general, how will you make sure that their voices and concerns are tabled in the national? Did you get me?
My brother,
Did you get my, did you
what
get
are
my question?
Nigerians looking up to their government for? One, they are looking up to government. They are looking for water, for roads, for electricity. I've mentioned in power supply, then security.
What I mean is, there's this connect. In fact, there's this disconnect, a lot of disconnect between the National Assembly members and their community. How are you going to make sure that you have this connect with your constituents to always voice and take their concerns to the National Assembly?
That is where I'm going to. When there is a disconnect, there will be no development of the constituency by the rep member. When there is a disconnect, there will be no development of that constituency, right? Because the people will be neglected, the people will be abandoned. I've had a situation where House of Rep member, senators, they don't even visit their constituency for the whole 4 years. I, for one, am coming in to change the status quo, to change it in a way that they may not necessarily be seeing me physically every day, but they will be seeing development taking place in their doorstep. One, every ward will have access to basic primary
health care. Would they be seeing you at all?
Pardon?
But would they be seeing you at all? But would they be seeing you at all?
They'll be seeing me. They'll get tired of seeing me. Have we not seen Mr. Peter Obi across the country? He's moving around. That's my standard. The people have to see me, interact with me. I will not create any barrier. As a matter of fact, I don't need any bodyguard. I'll move around in the midst of the people. When you are with the people, that is when you can understand their pain. All they need, like basic access, Mina metropolis, for instance, there is no reliable water supply. Ukraine is in war for 2 years now, but there is water running in their pipe. In Mina, that is not at war. There is no water running in our pipe. So all this have to be ensured that there is stable water supply to the people. Where they need independent water supply, will provide it. That is for water. Then for electricity, Niger is close to over 3 power stations. As I speak to you, Niger is not privy to enjoying even 3 hours of electricity supply daily. Niger cannot afford it. As a matter of fact, the latest development is that the state government has discontinued the agreement it had with the PHCN. He has discontinued with it, and he has gone on fixing solar. We are going to look into it to ensure we examine it. If it is something that can form part of the constituency project, why not? We will take it. But then some of the MOUs that have been signed between the state government and the power holding companies is not in the interest of the masses. These MOUs that is denying Niger State from having access to regular power supply has to be looked into, because the power station is Niger State oil. The Niger Delta have their oil. The power station is Niger State oil. Why will Niger State not benefit from power? Why will they not have 24 hours power supply? So I'll look into that, and if it's not visible, we'll consider other power alternative, like the solar alternative. I don't know if I answer your questions. Can you hear me? Let me start Kevin. Mr. Kabe, I can't hear you.
It's out now. I think it's having network challenge.
Okay, it's having network challenge. So I was discussing about the power challenges in Mina. The last time I traveled to Mina, just last week here, we had power challenges. There was no power. There was no power supply. I even, at a point, my phone ran down. I begin to wonder, the state government is busy dismantling the whole town, going into white elephant projects, like the overhead the overhead bridge is building, the flyover. You know, to me, Niger State has no history of traffic issue. Niger State have no issue of traffic lockdown, a situation where there is no more option to pass because of too many vehicles on the road. Niger State have never experienced any form of hold-up. So I don't know what necessitates the idea of flyover. And the billions of naira that are being used for this flyover is something that will have been utilized to empower the people, develop the human capital within the state, empower the farmers to be able to become the major producer of food in Nigeria. If the farmers are empowered, they'll be able to do better. They'll be able to do more. But as it is unfortunate situation. A situation where farmers is struggling to get seed to plant for next season. A situation where farmers is struggling to get herbicides to use on the crops. Yet, the state government that claim to be interested in boosting agriculture, as a matter of fact, they went ahead and purchased over 500 tractors. Throughout that year, that's last year, I did not see any of the tractor going to farm. As a matter of fact, from time to time, they parade the tractor within the metropolis, showing off that the state government is interested in agriculture. But I don't know when tractor has become a power bike that you drive within the metropolis. It's expected that this tractor, immediately they were acquired, should have been disbursed to the local farmers to go ahead. The best the state government can do is to provide them with technical assistance. In the event that there's a breakdown, you provide them technical assistance, and in the event that they need a driver, you provide them with the drivers that can drive it for them to till their lands. That's what I expected from the state government, but I am disappointed. And I don't see them improving or changing their tactics for this year. We are already approaching the next farming season, and all eyes is on the state government to see what they'll be doing. So the idea of going into debt, as a matter of fact, the state government has gone in to borrow over 1.3 trillion naira. This is the first time I'll be hearing a state going to procure such loan. And the time of reference of that loan is that only 500 billion naira have been released to the state government, but the state government signed an MOU that is already servicing the debt of 1.3 trillion. You can imagine some of these crazy, excuse me, some of these crazy bills, some of these crazy contracts, some of these crazy MOUs that state governments or the federal government enter, and you begin to ask yourself, were they drunk for entering such an MOU? So there has to be a credible voice of opposition to mount pressure on this state government, on the government of the day, to do the right thing at the right time. Because if this method of acquiring loan with very tedious, unfavorable terms is not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and the
All right.
The overall
All right.
effect
Sorry,
will
my
not bounce
network threw me out. Sorry, my network threw me
I
out.
understand. You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's quickly, because our time is we're still going fast spent. There was a question I wanted to ask. I always ask this, looking at moral standing and ethics of candidates. Will you resign from office if credible evidence emerges that you engage in unethical practices? And even if not legally prosecuted, why and why not? Will you?
So I have a network challenge.
It's like he's having network challenge. Anyway, maybe I don't know if I should ask the question before it comes back.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, you on the issue of insecurity, you made mention of that insecurity, is taking over everywhere in Nigeria. Okay. Then when we are talking of B, top of that. Now I want to ask, if peradventure you sponsor a bill, to put insecurity to rest or champion a bill as regard that, and this bill is being turned down, what do you do from there? Thank you.
Yes. If I champion a bill and the bill is being turned down, I will engage the civil society group. Those are my people. We'll go into the drawing board, we'll rephrase the bill, give it a new look, serving the same purpose. Then we'll mobilize Nigerians to come back and have their say during the public hearing on the bill and ensure that the bill scales through for the second time. Because security is fundamental. We cannot run away from it. If the government of the day is not interested, the people must be interested, because that is the only security they have. If they don't fight for the security of their lives and property, they should have the understanding that the government of the day, the officials of the government, they have their security details, which are being sponsored with the masses tax pay. So the people must get involved, and I must find a way to engage the people in every step I'm making in the National Assembly.
Okay, what's your stand?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I asked a question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's all right. Thank you, Mr. Adebi. Let me know your stance on corruption. Most people say that one of the highest paying set of public officers in this country that don't even think of the masses is the legislature, because of their fat salaries or their fat largesse and allowances. What's your stance on salary cuts and reductions in allowances for public officers like those of the National Assembly as a way of reducing the cost of government?
Yes, thanks for that question. Mr. Kelvin, I see no reason why Nigerian legislators should not be subjected to the minimum wage.
Before you go ahead, let me ask this: Would you support a part-time form of part-time legislature like parliamentary system, whereby they just come at their spare time they are not really paid much, in fact, little or nothing, but like you have the parliamentary, you support the parliamentary form of governance, then please also go ahead to talk about the cutting of salaries and allowance.
Yes, cutting of salary and allowance. Nigerian government is crazy, because the fat salaries and allowances that they pay these lawmakers, of course, will naturally lead to redundancy. They will not be productive. How do you justify all the various allowances that are paid to Nigerian lawmakers? At the end of the day, it will make them to stop thinking. The brain will stop functioning well, because You have access to free money that you have not worked for. I believe that every Nigerian lawmaker should be subjected to minimum wage. So if the minimum wage is good for the workers, they are also working. So all is about, adding value to governance. Whether you are a legislator, whether you are a cleaner, everybody is involved in the chain of production. So I believe the minimum wage standard should be applied on Nigerian legislator, and the legislation work should be made to be part-time. It should be part-time. What are they doing? If there is no bill to discuss, everybody should go about getting involved in industry. And if there's something to discuss, let them reconvene, discuss it, and after the discussion, everybody goes back to normal. That's the way it should be. It's when they are not productively engaged that they have time to discuss about budget padding and all that.
Okay, good. Let me ask this. You are going to be working as a legislator from time to time. People will be watching you to see how you're going to perform. What performance indicators do you think will you use to measure your success in office? For people to see that, look, you've done so well. What are those indicators?
Yes, myself, I have problem with myself. If I'm in an organization or if I'm involved in any task, if I feel that my impact is not being felt, I will be restless. And the same applies to whether in governance or out of governance. If I'm elected as the representative of the people, I will give to the people what they have never felt in their life, because I will ensure, one, in every ward, there will be presence of security. In every ward, there will be presence of standard primary health care. In every ward, there will be primary school, standard primary school, well furnished, and standard secondary school in every ward. I mean, this is the essence of government. If the government cannot be felt in this standard, then it's a failure. It's a failure. I cannot be representing a people that have no access to clean water. They have no access to health care. They have no access to basic school. Then I'll be driving one jeep around in the name of being a member. I'm a failure. You are rich when the people around you are rich, and you are damn poor when the people around you are so poor that they cannot even afford a basic square meal.
If you fail to meet your set target of promises, imagine the scenario. What steps will you take to address such failures, assuming, and how should your constituents hold you accountable? Hello, are you there? Did you hear me? Did you get my question? Mr. Due Process, did you get me? I think it's having a problem with his network.
Yes.
If Mr. Due Process, are you there?
Target, I get you. You understand? I'm here, I'm listening to you. I've heard you.
You got my question, go ahead.
I've heard you already.
As
an aspirant, I have a target for myself. As an aspirant, I have a target for myself, a performance index. I've mentioned it. What needs to be in each ward? Primary health care, secondary school, primary school, good potable water. These have to be available in each ward. If I fail to provide this in the first 100 days in office, there is no need going further. I will resign. Except if
we'll take you for the word.
Except if the resources made for the constituency is not enough to go round, then at least the people will feel the effect that if they are patient for another 1 more year, it should get to them. But to sit down without starting from nowhere and expect that I remain in office, I will not do that. I believe the Nigerian government has a lot of money thrown into governance, but the problem is corruption.
All right, we'll take it forward. Now let's look at the
If I'm not stealing, I don't know who is going to steal under my watch.
Yeah, let's look at
So if I'm not
let's look at
I don't know who is under my watch. And my
okay, let's
needs
look at
are
some,
limited.
all right, let's look at some critical thinking. Nigeria's political landscape is often harsh and unpredictable. What challenges do you anticipate facing during your tenure? And how prepared are you to overcome these challenges? Maybe political pressure, maybe pressure from conservatism, or anything that you know anticipate may come, including being swayed from powerful sources. How are you going to wade through all this against all odds? Okay.
Mr. Calvin, to be a politician in Nigeria, you sleep with pressure and wake up with pressure. But the people will adjust your style. If they notice that you are not stealing, there's no need for anybody to pressure you. You understand? As a matter of fact, being a non-indigent coming in to contest for a member in Niger State, I already know the pressure that I'll face. You understand? But love heals everything. Love attracts. Love heals pain. The moment the people see that they are supposed brother that have been there since 1999 is not providing the solution that the so-called non-indigent has brought to the table. Everybody loves good team, isn't it? So when the people see that the governance is built around them, is centered about providing them with good life, my brother, there will be no pressure.
All right. So let's, on a final note, I'm going to ask you to do this. I always tell all candidates to do this. You are going to, your constituents are actually watching you live right now on TV. The next question, in the next question, you are going to be facing them and telling them, you are going to be pitching yourself to them and letting them know why they should trust you to be the one to represent their constituency in the House of Representatives. You're going to be telling them why and what makes you uniquely qualified to serve them. So you are looking into the camera and you are talking to them, those in Chanchaga constituency, telling them why they should trust you to be their representative in their community.
Yes, fellow members of my constituency in Chanchaga Federal Constituency. This is something I've never thought about. I've never thought about coming out for any elected position. As a matter of fact, even during my student unionism, I never had a predetermined thought towards it. It just came, and this one has come. If the rep member for for Chanchaga Federal House of Representatives have been doing the needful, there will be no need of me coming out for that position. But I felt there is a vacuum. I felt there is a neglect. I felt there is need for the people to feel the impact of good governance in their lifetime. So I'm providing alternative platform. I'm providing alternative on the ballot for the masses. If you vote for me, you have successfully voted for yourself, because I will stand for your interests in the constituency. I will stand for your interests at the National Assembly. I will ensure that the masses are well represented. I will always stand and speak for you like I've always done. In terms of accountability, I don't need to preach about it. You can go and verify about who is due process. Go to IBB University. Till date, I believe some of the staff will still have memory of what I stand for. Thank you.
All right, Joas, thank you. We just listened to Mr. Christian Akobuche, a House of Representative aspirant for Chachanga constituency in Niger State. Mr. Ako is a public speaker and an activist. He's talking to us about his political aspirations for the House of Representatives and his personal life and what he intends to do. Mr. Ako, thank you for joining us in this program.
Thank you very much,
hopefully
Mr.
to
Cobb.
hear from you anytime soon. From you viewers, we hope to also hear from. Also hope you also be here. Maybe tomorrow or Monday we'll be having another guest. Our next guest definitely be coming. We'll let you know beforehand. We'll be having this particular program. From me here, it's goodbye, and I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.